Are you planning a move abroad but find yourself impatient and a bit frustrated that you are not already living in your dream country? Well, stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to give you 14 things you can do while you wait to make your move abroad. Now, if you've already subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you have not yet, consider doing so and clicking that notification bell so that each time I upload a video about living in France, moving abroad, or finding the confidence and courage to live life on your terms, you will be notified. My name is Patricia Brooks, and back in 2018, I quit my job and I moved to the south of France. And it's been an amazing experience, and I've learned quite a bit. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 14 things that you can do to pass the time as you wait to make your move to your new country. Now, the first area has to do with your stuff. And the first thing I would say is to know that you have options. When I planned my move, I just thought I didn't really have any options. I thought it would be super expensive for me to ship anything. And so I tried to get rid of everything. And 2 weeks before I was scheduled to leave, I still had a little bit of stuff left, not a ton. Did a pretty good job, but I didn't know what to do with certain things that held some sentimental value. So I wound up renting a storage locker. And then 2 years later, after paying storage fees, I decided to ship. And it was not that expensive. It was affordable, but it was more expensive because it wasn't in my first year and I had to pay import taxes. So had I considered what my options were, ship, sell everything, whatever the case is, I would have been better off. So know that there are options. It's not just, oh, you can't ship anything because it's going to be too expensive, or you shouldn't store, or whatever. Consider your options and pick the right one for you. The second thing I would say is to start the purge now. Whether you've got 6 months till you move or you've got 2 years, start now. Stop buying new things and start getting rid of the stuff that you have that you don't anticipate taking with you. And that's because it always takes longer to get rid of the stuff that you have. It seems to never fail. You know, as I said, it was 2 weeks before I was leaving and I felt really stressed about what I was going to do with my stuff. I had a friend who moved from Australia to London. A couple of days before, she was still scrambling to empty her house. And so this can be a really stressful period. So if you can reduce that, do that now. So that is number 2. Get rid of stuff now. The third thing is don't forget to get your medical records and scan them. And this includes getting images from mammograms or other procedures you've had done that a doctor in your new country might need to see in order to have a better understanding of what's going on, if this is normal for you or if it's an outlier. I did not have my mammograms with me, and they didn't know, whether or not this was normal for me. And so that was something that I had to get when I went back. And then, unfortunately, one of the places I had my mammogram done shut down, whole other story. So medical records, get your medical records, scan them, get your images where necessary. The next area has to do with administration and visa considerations. So this is for your country that you're going to. Now, if you're watching this video and you are a bit anxious that you're not already in your country, you've probably already figured out what type of visa you're going for. If you haven't, that is really important. What are the requirements for you to be able to live legally in a foreign country? And if you choose to work there, right? If you're going on a student visa, if you're going on a retirement visa, what is the visa that is right for you? And what are all the documents that are required so that you can get that? So once you've decided that, then start collecting the documentation that you'll need. You might not be able to apply for the visa sooner than 3 months before your departure date, but not having to scramble at the last minute to get a background check or something that might take a long time to get, maybe like a college transcript, will reduce stress in the long run. So The next thing, number 5, is to understand what will be required for you to set up house, set up a bank account, get a driver's license, get a cell phone in your new country. In France, you need a justificatif domicile to do just about anything, and that is proof of address, which an electric bill would suffice. But if your renting situation is one where your utilities are included, you're not going to have that. So what could you do in order to get that? For me, I found out that renter's insurance does the trick. To set up a bank account, what is required? Do you need someone to vouch for you? Do you need a guarantor? Do you need a guarantor to rent? What are all the requirements? Because when you get to your new country, if you know these things and have researched them and put a plan in place, things will go a lot more smoothly for you. And that goes also for your driving license. Now, if you're moving to a big city and you don't anticipate ever needing to drive in your foreign country, you can take that tack and not even worry about it. But that was my approach. And then I moved to a smaller village and needed a driver's license after my first year, which could have cost me dearly in terms of having to go to driving school. But for whatever reasons, the universe was on my side and I was able to do the exchange. But that is not typical. If you don't exchange your driver's license in the first year, you will have to go to driving school here in France. I don't know what other requirements for other places are, so you will need to check into that. In addition, not every state in the United States has this exchange with France. And like I said, I don't know what the requirements are for other countries. Look into that so you are well informed. So the next set of things you can do have to do with administration in your current country. And the first thing is to make sure that you have a physical address in the country you are currently in. Now, some mailing services say that getting a mailbox with them is like having a physical address. But that's not always the case because banks and computer systems are getting really smart and recognize that certain places aren't actually physical addresses. And so if you're using those, they can flag you or they can block you. So you want to make sure that you have a physical address. And so if you have a family member or a friend who will allow you to use their address, that is probably your best bet. Number 7 is to set up a bank account that has low or no foreign exchange fees and foreign ATM fees. Now, a couple that I've heard offer this no or low fees are Capital One Bank, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab. So look into those, see what they say about that, and get that set up as soon as possible. Number 8 is work with your financial advisor and make sure that you have a power of attorney who is in your country, who they can contact if you reach out to them and say, hey, I need you to transfer some money, because I think this is a requirement that they need to do. So if you haven't had that set up, that could result in a problem of not being able to transfer funds as easily as you would like. Number 9 is figure out your cell phone service. So you are going to have accounts that are going to want to send you a text message to a number that they already have on file. And some people use Google Voice, but I've heard that's been hit or miss in being able to handle the text message with the multi-factor authentication. So research Google Voice. I don't know, I don't have that, or other low-cost cell phone plans so that you still have access to your account, your online accounts. You also will want to unlock your cell phone so that I'm not really sure what this does, but some people have said that they've moved abroad and then weren't able to use their cell phone or put in an additional SIM card. So you're going to want to look into what is required to do that and what that will allow you to do. And number 10 is register with the State Department. They have this program called STEP, and that stands for the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. And when you register with them, they will know where you are and they will be able to send you emergency notifications for the country that you're in, should you need them. But also you can set up an emergency contact so that if something happens to you, they know, the embassy in your country, the country you're going to, will know who to contact and reach out to. So those are some of the administrative things you can do in advance of your move. And finally, this area or this bucket of items has to do with preparing yourself mentally. And this, I cannot underscore this strongly enough. Moving abroad is a big deal. It's a big change, a big life change, and it can be hard. And the more prepared you are to deal with the cultural differences, to deal with being away from family and friends, to deal with communicating in a different language, the easier your transition will be. And so this is what I focus on a lot. 2/3 of the program that I offer focuses on preparing yourself mentally for your move abroad. And so number 11 is to network. And this goes for networking in your current country, but also in your country that you're moving to. So while you're still where you are, make sure that you plan trips to visit with the people who matter to you and visit with them, because if you're not going to be able to see them for a while, this will be good for memories, but also a good time for you to talk about how you plan to stay connected. You know, what does that look like when you're miles away? It doesn't mean that you can't have a plan that allows you to stay close even though you're far away. And then you may want to start to make connections in your new country so that when you get there, when you get on the ground, you have some people you can reach out to and start to do things with, so it's not so isolating. And you can do that by going to groups on the internet and seeing who's already living there and talking to them and seeing who you connect with. And then when you get there, it will be easier to kind of slide into new friendships. Number 12 is to learn the language of your new country. And start doing that before you get there. Because while I've heard it said that, you just move to a country and then you're immersed in it, you automatically pick it up. Some people, that might be the case. But in my experience, that didn't happen. And for a number of reasons. So if you can mentally prepare by starting to learn the language and starting to believe that you will be able to communicate with others in that language, that goes a long way to give you a level of comfort that you might not otherwise have. And I want to say something. If you're going from one English-speaking country to another or one French-speaking country to another, that doesn't mean you can't do anything to improve your ability to communicate with the locals in your new country. Because I'm going to tell you that I've spoken to people, I've interviewed people for my podcast, and they have said that, I moved from, the US to the UK, or I moved from Australia to the UK. And there are words and phrases that I have no clue what the people mean. And so if you can start to learn what some of those words and phrases are, you will not be taken aback when you're like, what did this person just say to me? Did they just insult me? You will understand better and feel more comfortable communicating even in your current language. And I know that's the same for Canadian French versus France's French. There are differences that yes, you can communicate, but if you know the little nuances or the differences, it will make you feel more at ease. Number 13 is research the culture. And that goes beyond watching videos about cultural differences. That means find newspapers, and you can find newspapers that are written in your language about a certain country, what's going on in a certain country, so that you can be abreast of what's going on there politically, what's going on there socially, so that when you get there, it's not all new to you. It's not a surprise to you. You will have some sort of context to what you're getting into. And I think that the newspapers and the news is a really great way to see, where people are in the country you're moving to, what they're thinking about, what's on their mind, what's important to them. Number 14 might sound kind of strange because you may be over the country you are living in currently. And you may be saying, oh, I've lived here all my life. What is there for me to see? But I'm going to tell you, I lived in Richmond, Virginia for about 20 years. And I only scratched the surface of the things that I could have done there. Historically, the museums, all of that. I pretty much didn't do a whole lot of what I could do. And so tip number 14 is to be a tourist in your own country. All right. Be a tourist where you are right now. And the reason I say this is, number one, the happier you are where you are now, the more you get out and do things and not be anxious or impatient to be someplace else where you think you'll be happy, the more likely you are to be happy once you do finally move. Additionally, when you're getting out and about and doing things and seeing new things, that starts to become a habit, right? And so if you've created this habit of going out into museums or to parks or to meetups, that's going to be easier for you to do once you settle in your new country, because it's not something new on top of everything else that is new that you will have to do. So be a tourist where you are now, start to explore where you are now. It will make your transition to doing these sorts of things in your new country easier, and you will integrate more quickly. So there you have it. Those are 14 things that you can do right now as you plan and prepare for your move abroad. And you can do these things, and they will help to kind of ease the impatience and allow you to know that you are being productive and proactive so that your new life in your new country will go much more smoothly. Now, if these tips were helpful, give this video a thumbs up. And if you think that you could use a little bit more help in preparing for your move abroad, then let's have a conversation. Love to hear where you are, where you want to be, what might be holding you back, and if working with me might help you get there sooner and more smoothly. I'm going to put a link to my calendar in the description, so feel free to click that. And that is all I have for you today. I will see you again next time. Bye for now.